If I get to look at you the whole time, I'm good. Okay.
Yo.
That was gay? Wow.
That's how we started already.
I
don't know where I'm headed next, but man, I can't even fake no more. Surrounded by lies and bullshit, nigga, I can't even take no more. See, I woke up having a bad day, and I gotta get the dollar any fast way. Cause a nigga growing up never had shit.
Everybody good? Everybody need a refill? Anybody need anything?
I just got black people in my dream, but I ain't touching nobody.
That's forever imprinted on that.
Fantastic.
You know what? I served Elito a cup. I made sure to tell him, look, that black stuff, it was a part of the whole situation when they printed these things.
I was down bad up on my ass, I had to glow. Okay, sometimes I know I'm dead wrong, so I just put it all in these songs.
What's going on, guys? You're tuning into the Cause and Effect podcast, and I'm your host Chico, accompanied by my co-hosts, my brothers Fernando and Ralphie. How's everybody feeling today?
Feeling great, man. Fantastic.
Great. Amazing, right? And today we have a special guest with us, a good friend, a good mentor, a good person overall. He's bald. Wow. He's Dominican. You know, he's raw. Pause. Right? Rob De La Rose. Oh, okay.
So good.
Rob De La Rosa is with us tonight. How you feeling today, man?
I'm feeling fantastic. Fantastic, bro. I'm actually honored to be here, man. Before we get into any questions, I want to really say I really appreciate being on here, as I said, but seeing you guys come together. I was waiting for this moment to say this. The first time I met you, it was in the middle of a launch of a business. I didn't know you, but you was an innocent kid, young, 19?
20.
He was 20 years old, right? Because he was 21 in Vegas, right? Yeah. And saw you sit there from like, what the heck just happened, to I'm doing this, and then it grow to whatever, right? From not being able to speak, now you have a podcast where you bring your friends, family. So being part of your launch or something that you have is an honor, bro.
Hey, man, I appreciate that, bro.
For real.
We feel honored to have you. I can speak for everybody here because I think we all feel mutual. The feeling's mutual. Like having you and Elito on the podcast is like big for us as well because again, those bring back
for sure
those moments that you just mentioned, man.
For those people who really listen to us constantly, you know, last week we had a very special guest, like we mentioned, Elito Santana, who was like pretty much the piece that led us into this personal development world that we are so in love with, you know. Because of that, we are able to speak here in this podcast, and this gentleman that we have right here is his best friend. He was like the tipping domino. He was like the first domino to tip, and then
you know what's crazy, that Rob was like, I thought Rob was basically my business partner because in the beginning Elito was going through his situation with cancer. Yeah. So Rob took over, and it was like perfect timing because like Rob has this personality, right, where he can just like maneuver and understand body language, I'll say, right, because he's very aware of people actually like facial expressions to what they're about to do, like, oh, you're getting cold feet, like, oh, you're getting a little nervous, or he'll catch it and he'll call it out. He's very on point with that, and that comes with the beginning of what you were doing prior to meeting us, and we're gonna let you get into that, and we'll bring that to a full circle.
Absolutely, sure.
So, who is Rob De La Rosa? What did you do prior
to meeting us?
Yeah, and in the beginning, or even before that, you can start wherever you want.
Yeah, I don't want to start crazy and be like, you know, just to answer that question itself has depth. Like, who am I? To know who I am is important enough. So first, I want to say I'm love, I'm fun, I'm respect, I'm family. Before I give myself any titles. That's what I am.
That's a different answer that we've ever gotten.
Because
like that.
That's what I'm inherited from being born. What's a smile? What's dance? What's respect? What's love? What's nurturing? What's pain? What's fear? I didn't know those things, so someone taught me what it was. All right. And then I decide what I want to be. I'd rather have fun than have anger. I'd rather have love than have pain, etc. And then you get jobs and accolades and things to that degree. So initially, dance is my first thing. So my pops bust a move on the dance floor. Was like, that's fire. Like, truthfully, I just think I'm an entertainer by heart. Like, if I can see that something gave me light and I can do that in return, pops was busting mad moves. Like, I need that. Then it was martial arts. So Bruce Lee was my first hero. Right, I'm going deep. So Bruce Lee was the first person I saw that was like, how do you do that? So I did martial arts as a kid and jumped right into sports. The way me and Elido connected was I moved from the east side of the Bronx, Weeks Avenue. So anybody who's out in Weeks, I'm representing from all the way out there. Weeks is no joke.
It's wild.
Yeah. And then I played basketball, and then I moved to Marble Hill where I met E. And that's the first time I started playing baseball. Like the reason I played baseball is because I met him and his brother. His brother was ridiculous. The first day I met him, I crossed him up hard. Elvis is on camera. Crossed him. I was 7. Hit him. And I seen him grab a bat, and he broke a window. Bing! Hit the ball mad hard, broke a window. I was like, yo, I've never seen something like that. Boom, and there comes Elido. And from there, it was him, his cousin, and I just saw these guys in uniform. I've never played baseball before. So we started playing in the neighborhood, learned how to play. His father pretty much was my coach. His father was a big father figure for me. I ended up playing baseball to like 14. It was a short run, but it was a good one. I ended up winning a championship when I was 13 years old. And the reason I'm giving these stuff is because I was the kid who, I don't have an older brother. I have a lovely older sister. Shout out, happy birthday. Her birthday was yesterday. Who used to just beat me up a lot when we were kids and try to kiss me. But she didn't teach me like how to be a man. Love my parents, but I didn't have an older brother. So Elido's brother was like my first kind of older brother. TC was somebody who was like my older brother. And from those guys, they played sports. All I wanted to really do was be as good as those guys. So I played baseball. By the time I was 13, we won a championship for the Babe Ruth, which was big. Only reason I played is because of Elido's pops. Ese muchacho ahí que juega, like, kind of deal. And it was a great experience. You know, I traveled for the first time without my parents. At that time, I also learned the power of being good at something and just showcasing that regardless of where you at because of sports. And from there, I went to school in the city, which also was a big turning point for me because I was just a Bronx kid that I thought everything was the Bronx. I went to school, 46th Street, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. It happens to be an international. It's Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis International Careers, if I'm not mistaken. And I met people from Harlem. I found out that Brooklyn's a nationality. You know, you meet anybody from Brooklyn. I'm from
Brooklyn.
Yeah, so it's, diverse. It was diverse. I got to see the subway, things like that. And then I started working at AT&T when I was 18 years old. I worked at a shoe store first, so then I got into sales. Right after high school, jumped right into sales.
Why sales?
So, Fern is not even it's a brother, bro. It's me, E, Fern. Like, we grew up, we knew each other since we were 7 years old. And one day, his brother Melvin came home. It was 2007, or it was 2006, and he came home in a 2007 TL. And I looked at him like, you don't sell drugs. How you did that? I was very aware as a kid. I had something on my wrist that said observant, and he told me he sold cell phones. I said, if you sell cell phones and you got that kind of car, he thought that it was having a conversation with a person that wasn't paying attention. At like 2 o'clock in the morning, I left the conversation and applied online. Literally once we left. Because I was already it was people, right? Like, I can talk to someone and they're going to, I believe that sales is, half of it they already know they want to buy, but they're looking for someone to validate why. All right? Because if you're working at a shoe store, they're coming in the store. They came in to buy. All right? And I wasn't getting paid commission when I was working at a women's shoe store, Al Bundy, for a little bit. All right?
Yo.
And I saw, but I was putting up good numbers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was putting up good numbers, and then I saw someone come in with that kind of car. I said, I need that. I applied, got the job, and from there I just started paying attention to people who were winning. That's it. My boss was 23 years old, and he was a store manager for AT&T. So I said, I was going to school full time, and I hated it. Just because I felt like there was material that I was supposed to take that I knew I wasn't going to use. To all you have degrees, I love your brain, love the drive, love it all. But once X5JM76 divided by pi,
Rob checked out.
Why was I gonna? When math became English,
Yeah.
it's like it's over. I don't understand. And my father's a math professor, like back in DR. I just knew I had to find something else, and boom, I got into AT&T. And once I found out my boss was 23 years old with no school, I said, whatever you did, I'm doing. By the time I was 22 years old, I was a store manager for AT&T. And when I got there, it was just more like.
And you were like, where were you in the city?
I was all over the city. So at the time, I was in 6th Avenue, 16th Street and 6th Ave. I ran that store. But when I started on 24th Street. Then my boss got promoted. I was in 8th Street. Then I went to Soho. No, then I went to Union Square. I'm sorry. Then I went to Soho as an assistant. Then I got promoted in the Bronx for 3 months. Then came back to the city to 8th Street where I used to work at. And now the people that I used to work with, I was their boss for a month, which was crazy. All right, crazy. Shout out to my boy Swell. Swell, speaking about, and I know I'm all over the place. At AT&T is the first person that I met. Swell was the first person I met that gave me his story, and it was a movie for me. Like, the dude was one of my heroes after 3 hours because of where I worked. And then I ended up running the store in 6th Avenue and then running the store that I got hired at, 24th Street. And then, boom, network marketing came to my life. I went crazy, left it, etc.
So you've been self-employed ever since
I've been
MLM.
self-employed for about 7 years. Wow. Time's crazy.
Yeah, sounds
However,
right.
I recently taken a job to be a district manager at a mobile company again. So opportunity was presented to me. It was like, listen, you could run 11 stores, make X amount of dollars. This is what your schedule be like. And I really sat there like, this makes sense. And I hate how much sense it makes. No ego. If this can help me propel my goals faster, let's go do it. And I was the #1 district manager last month. No, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Only been in there for about 4 weeks. I'm like,
congrats on that, bro. And I mean, I like that you shared. So I guess there were just like moments that are like embedded in your brain where it's like, I guess, shifted, like you said, shifted you to the right direction you needed to go.
Right.
So, AT&T, do you believe that it helped you mold yourself as the person, like, to speak to people, communicate with people, and like, can you touch up on that? Because I feel like some people get into careers, right, and they kind of neglect the skills that they can get from those careers or jobs. And I think that, you know, AT&T, you know, hearing you got to talk to people all day, like, you got to have some type of personality or some type of understanding.
It's man. The way to answer that question, because what I don't want is the listener who's not my kind of personality to think the reason why is because he's like that. Now, look, everybody knows what's important is to know what you're good at. What I'm good at is knowing my voice. As a kid, I knew what I wanted to do. If it was for me, I knew kids that were going the wrong direction, and I wasn't afraid to be like, I'm not doing that. That's not my style. I'm cool as a kid, okay? So when I got into AT&T, you know, there were things like, people will say things now like, yo, he's very well spoken, and I appreciate that. But when I was 18 years old, someone told me, who was a graduate at NYU, right? One was a graduate at NYU, one was, I think, going to Columbia, told me, I don't speak English. So the words.
They told you you're not speaking English.
Like, you speak English in a way, but you're not putting words that people would understand together. Like, this is a coworker. And I looked at the person like, I will slap fire out of you. Yeah, I was so offended, and I was like, what the fuck does that even mean, son? What does that even mean? No one in my life has told me I don't speak English. Like, am I stupid? Right? So in that moment, it was like, who are you? And I look at the board, and I'm #1, and you're #10. And I don't care how smart you are, I'm whooping your ass in what we do. But it also crept in my mind, like, what is that? Well, this could be a person talking down on me, or a person that's better than me without them knowing they are. So now when they would say a word, when we had a customer and they'll say something I've never heard before, I'm on Google. So, oh, that's what you meant. Put it in my arsenal. Customer come in and say a word like, why are you so overzealous? Oh, that was new. Put it in my arsenal. I don't got to be the smartest kid. I just apply things I'm supposed to apply. I don't like the conversation when someone starts to show off how smart they are because they're using a word on purpose that you probably don't know. I'm the guy that's going to say, what the fuck you mean? What does that mean?
Don't understand.
I don't know what
that.
you're saying.
Yeah.
And the point of us having a conversation so we can understand each other. If you're trying to flex your knowledge on me because you're insecure and I'm not, I'm cool. That's what AT&T did for me. It was a whole bunch of people that said, don't listen to the managers, because you're going to be, the managers. And they weren't managers. They were working there for 10 years. It's like, I don't want that. I want what the manager has. He leaves at 5. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's out.
He's
we
out.
get tight. I want that.
We got to follow his orders.
Now, that was all, So, it also gave me so many experiences, like seeing people dealing with accounts. There were huge accounts, walking into corporations. It allowed me to know this. I'm accepted anywhere I go because I accept myself anywhere I go. I don't got to mold myself to nobody's liking. You going to like me because I like me.
Were you always like that, though? Like,
I sit back and I think about those things. Absolutely. I was a new kid in school.
Hey, I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
What's up?
You say, when Rafi says that, I'm like, I saw some pictures back in the day. I think Rob didn't give a fuck about what they said because he would wear some shit where I'm like,
I was the white tee with the black tee over and the white with the afro. But what you gonna say to me? I could outdance you and I could low key hurt you. So chill. But I'm a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I was so comfortable. And here's another part. Like I didn't have much. Okay. I didn't have much. I wasn't fortunate enough to get the Jordans and get this and dress fly because my parents had it. I'm going to make whatever I got work. You know what? I could get a shape up every week.
When you had hair.
You feel me? That's all I could do, but I could be myself. I could be funny. I could learn. You know what I mean? That was all it was. And I didn't never try to be somebody I wasn't. Since a kid, bro.
But why though? Like mostly for the
That's
the
huge.
Most part,
Yo,
a lot of people,
right?
Because I noticed you mentioning that you saw a few of your friends going a different route. That you was like, I don't want to follow that route. Like I got my own route that I set my mind to. But why didn't you? Because we are so easily influenced nowadays. I mean, not nowadays.
Shit.
Everybody in general are easily influenced depending on what you want to be influenced
all of
by.
That. Yeah.
But if you were surrounded by people that were doing certain things that you knew could lead you to some trouble, why didn't you do it? That's your crowd. That's your friends, right?
That's a great question. I said this the other day. The reason people are easily influenced because they have no self-influence. Like, I knew what was... that gut feeling? When you have a gut, I listen to a gut feeling. I don't care who you are. And I don't like bullies. Manipulation. And you know what I hate? When people correlate sales with manipulation. I hate it. Right? Because it's not that. It's asking questions so you can answer your own question. You ever walk in and someone goes, I don't know what I want, but I really like this one. That's what you want, dick. But I can't say those words. I'm going to say why you like that one. What would you do with that one? Do you have an outfit for that one?
Mm-hmm.
I can see you with that one. Right? Right. I just hope you answer.
Yeah, they just need confirmation.
So for me,
you're like that friend that they don't bring to the store.
Facts. I'm the friend you got to be very selective of what you bring to me too, right? A goal that I have though, even though it's a strong suit, where it's like I just know what I want. I know what makes sense to me. I also know that someone else's perspective is valuable. I want to be more approachable sometimes. I wish you could come to me. I wish you would have called me the first week to be like, yo, I launched a podcast.
We weren't ready for you then.
Right? This is what I'm saying, though. But then it's also on my terms to reach out and say, yo, listen, I want it right now. I don't care if you're not ready. I want to be part of the start. For me,
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. I just knew, and I think it has to do with my mom. Like, my mom only cared about communication. What time you leaving? Just text me. That's all I want you to do. I know you're a good kid, but just tell me that you left. Tell me what time you're getting back.
Yo, that's funny.
That's all it was. So
same thing with me.
It was a text like, yo, mom out here. You heard, chill.
Yeah.
And that was all. So I guess it was a better. And I just saw good from my mom. Like, my mom is one of the most rock solid people I've ever seen in my life.
Did your gut ever led you astray, though? Like, in a way that you're like, damn. Like,
I have.
Yeah?
That's cool. I was just talking about that the other day. All right, so people, I could be very stern, all right, at times. So I'm not the smallest guy. right? Per se, I've learned that sometimes I can seem intimidating for some reason. I don't know why, but I smile a lot, to ease that up, right? True. So if I know you, all right, Rafi, for example, I know Rafi when we met the first time he was doing poetry, a while back. I know you did poems, spoken word. You thought, see, I don't forget things like this.
I told them.
I don't forget things like this, right?
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
So when I met you, it was like, oh, he does spoken word. I instantly was interested, and I was hoping one day to hear it. And I remember when it was like, yo, Rafi, and it was like, nah, I'm good, nah, right? I'm the friend that if I know you fucking good, I'm gonna pull you to the side and be like, yo, my man, let me tell you something. Stop your shit, nigga. Get to it. Like, I'm that friend. Or if you give me and it's whack, I'm gonna be like, you know what I'm saying? We could do a little bit. You know that you could have tapped in a little harder. I'm that friend. Because I would want that in return. I would want that in return.
I had self-doubt. But yeah, I had a lot.
And there's people that that I think the biggest gift of being a friend or being close enough is so when you let go of that and you come out yourself and you're like, I knew the whole time, right? It's dope. Yeah. And I guess it's just a reflection of my parents weren't really there for my baseball games, and I had to come back and give you my story. Yo, I wish you would. That's why I figured it out. I got good at storytelling because it was a void. You weren't there.
Oh, shit.
So I gotta make it visual enough, detail enough that you actually were there. I figured that out. You know what I'm saying? The other day,
crazy.
Which is crazy.
I mean, you turned that could have been something that you could have just been like, damn, my parents aren't here for me, and just shield yourself from the world even more. But instead, you victimized yourself. But instead, you found that, like, how can I use this as a tool to propel me? And that's powerful because, like I said, like a lot of people don't have that kind of perspective, when it comes to their the things that happen in their life. They're labeled as negative or as a setback. You know what I mean? Instead, you look at it like, okay, what can I get from this? You always had that kind of mindset?
Absolutely. Bro, it was, it's crazy you say that. Like, I'm thinking now, reflecting as a kid, I'm just amazed at people's story. Like, we met for a reason. We're here for a reason. And I love movies, but people are movies, bro. And there's parts that's hidden scenes. The only way I get them is if I get close enough or I pay attention enough. Like, there's parts of movies where people are like, you caught that? And I'm like, no. And I hate it when I miss it. Like, what you mean? All right? I think a movie gets boring when you know what's going to happen already. Yeah. When I don't know what's going to happen and I got to dive in and pay attention, those are people.
Like this moment right here.
This moment right here.
You're like
locked in right here. Like, open.
You're present.
Exactly.
Right? I'm sorry. I didn't know if you were leading with something else.
Just to answer what you were saying, it's since a kid, bro, I could just remember. I have crazy memory. You forgot that I knew that about you. All right? Like, that you did spoken word. When I met you, that's what it was. Like, I don't know what it is. I think I have really good memory because I'm supposed to only remember things in a way that my body's supposed to be okay with them. I don't know if that makes sense. So meaning, the reason I work so hard or so focused on growth is so when I look back at my life, I can remember it the way I wanted to. Since my memory is so good. Like, I can't be present and go do shit wrong to look back at my life because self-sabotaging is easy when you come from Section 8 housing. It's easy when you start at the bottom. It's easy to point to, why not me? That is so easy. But to find there's a reason why I'm here. It's like a puzzle. I used to love puzzle as a kid. To be like, I got to sit, relax. You ain't got nowhere to go to figure this. And it's a puzzle. I'm getting things done piece by piece before someone else sees how beautiful it is. I was the one that had to sit there and put things down piece by piece. I think that's people, bro. I think that's life. I think if I just stay in that place, life is always beautiful.
So you think that's like your the meaning of life for you? Like,
for sure.
Finding people in.
Everyone's a piece.
Put them in the piece.
Bro, there's people. Think about this. How many people we walk by every single day that we're unaware of, right? But in some way, somehow, I believe I walked by you some way, somehow, in a club, something. But I wasn't meant for me to meet you yet. It wasn't that part of the puzzle. I was at the beginning of the puzzle. I had to join this and not know Jersey and then trip and then Rafi does this. You got a podcast. oh shit, look, that's a piece of the puzzle the whole time. You didn't know where it went.
That's crazy you say that because that happens a lot. Like you meet somebody, but you never really interact with that person, and then you see them months later introduced through somebody else. You're like, oh, God,
or even better yet, you have a circle of friends that person is also in the same circle, but you never met them until a certain moment in life. And you're like, yo, I know all the people you know. How did I never meet you? Right? And then it just becomes that full circle moment. Like, yo, I was supposed to meet you at this moment.
Out of you too. Like,
for sure. That's the illest part, bro.
It's like, wow, like this whole time we kind of knew each other.
Yeah. It's crazy. And I'm not ashamed to be like, yo, I know you. I mean, perfect example, your cousin. All right? I was like, oh, from a couple years ago, State Farm, I know who you are. Hi again. Opposed to being like, oh, I don't know who you are because I'm Rob.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I know you, I met you before. Where do I know you from?
You know what's funny that there's people that I come across and I see them. I'm like, you're so familiar, but I never tell them.
Right.
Like, and then you be thinking like, damn,
I'm
do
the
I
guy.
know this person?
Where do I know you from? And we dig. What school you went to? You know, that got me out of trouble too. There was times we came out the club. There was a true story. We got out of the club. We was about to scrap. Steve, I'm not trying to put more violence here. It's one of those nights where like 19, and it got crazy. And we walk outside, and I'm looking at the dude, and I'm like, your name is Alex, right? I swear to God. It was like, yo, you live in Mount Eden, right? 5th floor?
Yo.
I played video games with the kid. I was 4 years old, bro. I remember his name. And here's what I hit him with. Ninja Turtle underwear is your favorite underwear.
You're lying.
On my mother. And he was like,
son.
Yo, he knows me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, yo, my pops is Kikito. We used to and gave me £1 and we squashed everything.
Wow.
Good night, y'all.
Wow. Yo, that's wow.
And what crazy is, I'm thinking everyone's like that, right? So till now, I tapped in to be like, you know, I don't like to showcase like I'm not the guy. I'm a humble person, so I think everyone's like this. So if I walk by you and I know you know me, it's like, no, you have bad memory. Like you're doing a shot. So it's my job to be like, yo, I know you. Yeah, we know each other. So if you don't remember, here's what it is.
I'm guessing that has a lot to do too with the fact that you seem like you're very present. When you are somewhere, you are there and you observe, and when you hear something, you kind of keep it in your mind, whatever.
And it's funny because sometimes I would think Rob wasn't paying attention and he'll say something, and I'm like, how the fuck does he remember this, right? Like, there'll be times where I'm like, because you meet people at that point, right? You were meeting people
nonstop,
left and right. Like we were building the business, and you got rooms filling up every hour. And there'll be times, right, that out of that group, somebody came back. And Rob's like, oh, and says their name. And I'm like,
you know, that's a tribute to, shout out to V. One of my managers at one point, when I walked into a store, he said, when you walk into the store, you kind of want to be like a restaurant manager. And I looked at him like, the hell does that mean? When you walk by, you want to be able to hear everything that's going on in your store as you walk into the back. That's a SIM card change. That's an upgrade. That's a problem. So as soon as you come back out, you know what you got to fix. And I was like, oh. But now I'm in a room and I'm paying attention. Like, you ain't offering. You didn't know this person's name. You scared as shit.
So you'll go to the person that you needed to attend to first.
Literally, my ear is sensitive to the wall. Like, all right, who's getting in? Who said
to do that?
Right. Who said they want to get in and you scared? Get out the way. Yeah, get in.
We witnessed that, right?
Right.
The first presentation, Rob goes, it was priceless. He was like, look, this room is ready to go lock in, but he's not getting the laptop.
Right.
He ran.
Shut up. Don't talk to me.
Here, take your phone out. Here.
And it's crazy. I swear to God. You know what's crazy, Chico? Look, this is a big circle because there's an audio on SoundCloud, right? Which I don't really talk too much about it. Rob De La Rosa closing or whatever the case is, right?
That was that big shot meeting?
Listen to me.
Before that night, right?
Listen to me, bro. So just to give people like, I don't know where I'm supposed to look. I'm supposed to look this way or whatnot. Cool. So at this point in business, my best friend is, as he was on this show last week, undergoing cancer. So now it's my business as well, but I'm not getting paid on this side. My mind is on him. Like, he needs to get paid. So we do a presentation in Patterson.
Yeah.
You guys invite a couple people. It was packed. It was like 1 a.m. because that's the time y'all used
to love. It was at Lewis's house. It was at Lewis's house.
No, it wasn't Lewis's house. It was the little girl with the projector.
Jasenia, something like that. Yachty.
Yeah. Shout out to you, girl. Hope you're doing well. So we there, and it's a packed room, and I'm like,